Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where two friends get together and talk about the story behind the matches. I'm Matt.
And I'm Michael.
Welcome to episode 16, Royal Rumble 1988.
Oh, we're going to rumble in the ring?
That's probably a better tagline than...
There's no tagline, is there?
I didn't ever see one.
I don't have one, but I obviously made a joke to myself in my notes, but I can't read it. Because it's like obviously an acronym or something that I thought maybe I would remember.
And you don't.
I definitely do not. It's like A/AW.
All the wrestling
Yeah.
everybody wants. I don't know.
I have no. Yeah, I have
I
no
think it
idea.
adds an extra letter
Yeah.
there. Well, the Royal Rumble
Always wrestling.
always wrestling.
Always wrestling.
Always wrestling. Royal Rumble 1988 was the inaugural Royal Rumble event produced by the WWF on January 24th, 1988. And we might remember that date because it's the same day as last week's show, the Bunkhouse Stampede Finals.
Oh, wait, the Bunkhouse is 24th, 88?
Yes. So,
I don't even remember Bunkhouse.
the Royal Rumble,
I know I watched it.
it's been a minute.
Yeah. I remember the promo.
It was a horrible show.
I remember the promo.
Don't go
The
watch
promo
it.
was
No, that
funny.
was Starrcade.
The promo with Starrcade was funny.
Yes, the
The
promo,
promo
was Starrcade.
for Stampede is funny.
Yes. The Royal Rumble was held at the Cops, or is it Caps? Do you have
It's an O, so
Okay.
The Cops Coliseum.
Cops Coliseum in
But
Hamilton.
with like two P's, so it's like not real cops.
No, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. The event was not a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
It
I can
was-
tell because there's commercial cuts and shit.
Yes, it
weird.
was actually a television special that was shown on the USA Network the same night as, like I said, as the Bunkhouse Stampede.
Oh, and it was like for free, so it's just Vince
So-
doing that dirty shit.
So remember, Survivor Series was they
cheeky
did
fucker.
it on pay-per-view, and then they told all the
Yeah. Oh, I remember
cable
that.
companies,
Yeah.
hey, you can't run, and we're sitting outside.
Yeah,
doing
we are.
this.
We are out in the backyard. It's nice outside, but hopefully this isn't awful.
Hopefully.
The AC kicked on. You may or may not be able to hear it. Hopefully you can't. But hey,
We'll find out.
yeah.
So,
Just join us in this nature
so
event.
Survivor Series,
Yeah.
they put it on the same night as Starrcade, and Vince went to the cable companies and told them, hey, if you carry Starrcade, you're not
Yeah.
going to be able to have WrestleMania 4. Well, a bunch of cable companies did it.
Mm-hmm.
They carried Survivor Series instead of Starrcade.
Why would they not?
But they basically got mad about the whole thing.
Why would you not be mad?
Exactly.
Yeah. Nobody likes an ultimatum.
Basically, I think whoever controls cable basically was like,
The
hey,
separate-
Vince,
yeah.
you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, the separate cable companies, the cable company like boss union,
Yeah.
turned
Basically,
into a Megazord that said "fuck you, Vince."
they said, hey, you can't do that again. So Vince was like, all right, well then
We'll make it free.
I'll do a television special, which
Yeah.
the USA Network was more than happy because this show drew a cable rating of 8.2, which was a record.
So the whole world watched it.
For
All of
most-
the United States watched it.
It was the most viewed wrestling program on TV at that point.
That's crazy. That's crazy. 'Cause I didn't do I kind of try not to do the deep research because it's more fun for you to bring it to me and for me to react to it. So I try to kind of stay away from it. There's some stuff that I just know, and there's
Yeah.
some stuff that I hold back on the show just for potential entertainment
General
value.
reactions.
Yeah, exactly. But the commercial thing, I definitely knew that was going on, but I didn't research it because I was like, well, Matt's gonna have the answer. So if I look it up, then we're just gonna be talking to each other about the same thing. So good.
So,
Vince is an ass.
basically, last week we talked about some stuff that were happening around January 24th. Here are a few more things. The Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame had just inducted the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Drifters, Bob Dylan, and the Supremes.
Was it the first year?
I probably.
I was like, it's like if the Beatles and like the Beach Boys. It's like, oh, so that's like the
Oh,
first
you're
year,
not
right?
first ballot?
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah, the only thing you like, there was one thing you said that I didn't know.
The Drifters?
But yeah, I don't know the Drifters. What are the Drifters?
They drifted?
I mean, yeah,
I have no clue.
whatever, man.
At least not right offhand. I
I'll
don't
look it
know.
up. Like, yeah, they were probably a band that had like a
Probably had a few songs.
like a 50s like throwback classic, like the Turtles, where everybody knows a Turtles song, but they don't know it's a Turtles song.
So, also, got a birthday, and
It's 3 days after my birthday. After
3 days after your birthday.
After my first birthday.
Well, then you have a birthday that's very close to Ashley Murray, who plays all our Riverdale fans know.
I watched the first season. I shouldn't have said that on the internet, but I watched the first season, and it was kind of fun. But I've heard it's gotten really crazy, where they're all like doing coke and not going to school.
It's a soap opera.
I love soap operas. I just
You
want
just
to.
said that on the internet.
I do
too.
though. Like I like Twin Peaks is one of my favorite shows in soap opera.
But she plays Josie McCoy, the lead singer of Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, the one with the big hair that like she dates Archie for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the first like season and a half, and I was like, I don't care. But I've heard it's gone off the rails, where it's like bizarro shit.
Probably has.
That sounds fun.
Let's get to the show.
Okay.
Vince McMahon welcomes us to the Royal Rumble.
Behind some like with some really weird music that sounds like two songs are playing at once.
Which you probably heard over the opening credits or the opening of our show here.
Yeah. But it seriously sounds like two songs on top of each other. Where I was watching it in my living room, so I thought somehow that like I was getting audio from like I have a computer and like a Blu-ray player hooked up to it or whatever, and I thought I was getting audio from both of them at the same time because I was like, I'm so confused about these sounds. It evens out a little bit.
And we see the logo come on the screen, which it was a good logo. I liked it with the kind of a royal.
Yeah, I know it's good. There's
look.
like a crown. It's kind of like an orangey color.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
And then Vince previews what we're going to see on the show.
They're both pumped.
And Vince and Jesse, I guess both of them are kind of talking, previewing
Yeah.
the show, because Vince and Jesse are our announcers for the evening.
It's nice that like, is this the first show where Vince is like a main announcer, where he's like really taking over for?
I mean, he
Gorilla?
was the lead announcer for one part of WrestleMania 2.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the lead announcer for
Well, I mean, yeah, but
3?
like I think it was still Gorilla.
Was it Gorilla?
But like Vince and Jesse are so good together that sometimes it's hard for you to watch the match because you're paying attention to them riffing off each other so well.
I like it.
They're almost too good together. Also, Jesse's got like a tie-dye shirt and like a suit jacket on, and he looks like Jesse. It's great.
So we got our first match, Ravishing Rick Rude versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Rick Rude, like best body in wrestling up to this point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I,
It's insane. He's got those weird like there's like you have the abs and then like at the top you have
I think
those like
he has
those
an 8-pack.
those weird like those weird like muscles on like the outside of your rib cage. He's got those guys, and it's like nobody has those guys.
But the match begins, and we got back and forth brawling. Rude attempts to throw Dragon over the ropes, but Ricky skins the cat.
I
and
love
then
that. I love it when he
back body
skins the cat.
drops Rude to the floor. Rude wants to lock up in a test of strength and gets the advantage, but Steamboat fights back. And then we get Ricky working over the arm. And there's a fan at ringside,
With the megaphone?
the megaphone lady.
I bet Vince was just like ready to shoot them in the mouth.
Well, if you notice, I think this is the only match that she uses the megaphone
Yeah,
because
I
they
thi-
probably confiscated.
Yeah, it was probably like this match and maybe one more. But I remember being like, yo, what was that? Because I was like, I didn't see Jimmy Hart come out with anybody. That was my first thought. I was like, I didn't see Jimmy Hart because I didn't hear what they said or whatever. And then like as I was watching the match, I realized it wasn't him, and I saw it was like the lady in the crowd. She was happy.
But I mean,
She was having a good time.
she was so loud that even Jesse makes mention of it on the commentary.
Yeah, and Vince was fuming. He was like, get her out of here.
But the best part about it all is she had one of those like hats with the hands that like clap.
Yeah.
If you pull
Oh
the
my God.
string. It was so Canadian.
Is that Canadian?
I don't know.
Or are you just
But
throwing
she's
shade?
just-
You're
she's
throwing
just-
shade. I
I'm
saw you
just
throwing
throwing
shade. You didn't see Matt's voice.
She's in Canada.
Yeah, she's Canadian.
Rude starts throwing right hands to break the arm lock and takes control of the match. A Steamboat arm drag, and he has Rude right back in the arm lock, working over the right arm. Rude then reverses an Irish whip attempt and gives a back elbow to Ricky. We get some beautiful chops to the chest and a couple tomahawk chops to the head by Steamboat.
Are there karate chops? Right?
They are karate chops.
I'm just calling you out, but
That's true.
they're. I mean,
They're
they
not
yeah.
in
It's not
the
Wahoo.
same thing.
They have. Yeah. But he came out in a
He's
gi,
not
like
Indian.
in a
he's
gi.
Karate. I get
I mean,
it.
I don't know Ricky Steamboat's actual nationality, but
I mean, I think they say he's from Hawaii.
yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, who knows? He could be Native American, but he came out in a. I assume it's a. I think it's a gi.
Yeah,
It's called a gi, right?
Yeah.
It's close enough.
karate outfit.
Yeah.
Ricky then starts running the ropes, but Rude gives him a knee to the gut, and the Dragon rolls out of the ring to recover. But Rude follows out, pushes Steamboat's back into the apron, and then body slams him on the outside. Rude then rolls back into the ring and begins to do his gyrating dance.
It's funny.
Rude suplexes Steamboat over the top rope back into the ring, and we get a 2 count. Rude sitting on Ricky's back with a chin lock, but Steamboat is trying to fire up, even though it looks like he's tapping.
Dude, my only complaint with this match
Is that right there?
it happens a lot.
Yeah, he's like
legitimately
the
tapping.
mat.
Like it's not like a quick tap. It's like a. But he's tapping. Like he's like moving his hand up from lifting it and dropping it on the mat in a consistent motion that is tapping. It's like lackadaisical tapping, but
Well, if that's not the worst thing in this match.
well, then what
This
is?
next thing is
What is it?
the ref raises Steamboat's arm once, twice, 3 times.
Does it do it 4 times?
They all hit the mat, but he raises it a 4th time,
I did not catch that.
and it stays up.
Oh my god.
Jesse catches it. Steamboat stands up with Rude on his shoulders, and electric chair drops him.
That was cool.
Ricky goes for a splash, but Rude gets his knees up. An atomic drop by Rude, and a cover, 2 counts. And then Rude goes back to the chin lock, but Steamboat sends Rude into the turnbuckle, and then slams his head into the turnbuckle 10 times.
Don't worry about the fact that he also tapped again in between that chin lock. Every time he gets in a chin lock, he does the like fake tap, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. Unofficial tap.
We get a snapmare, a dropping chop, and a cover by Steamboat, only a 2 count. Rude with a takedown, but the Dragon gets the head scissors on, but Rude rolls over for a pin. Another 2 count. Steamboat then bridges out of the pin and turns it into a backslide pin attempt.
It's fucking cool.
2 count. A schoolboy pin attempt. 2 count. The Dragon trips up Rude and flips over on top for a pin. 2 count. We get a small package, but it's reversed by Rude for a 2 count, which is then reversed by the Dragon for a 2 count. But then we get an eye rake and a clothesline by Rude, followed by another pin attempt. Rude goes for a vertical suplex, but Steamboat reverses it into one of his own. The Dragon then goes to the top rope for a diving crossbody, but Rude pulls the ref in front of him.
Ref bump.
Rude picks Steamboat up into a Canadian backbreaker rack when the
Ah.
ref gets up and calls for the bell. Rude's celebrating and starts walking back to the locker room, but then the announcement comes. Winner by DQ, Ricky Steamboat.
I had to reverse to like find out what the DQ was.
It was when Rude pulled the ref in front of the
Yeah, I
crossbody.
know. Well, like, I know, but I was like, but I'm just so used to that happening and not being a DQ. That like you.
Most
you
times it
throw-
would have been a DQ
yeah, you,
on Steamboat. not-
Yeah, like you throw yourself back into like these older matches, and you're like, oh yeah, like that's why it was. But like the rules are so, rules in wrestling only exist.
They fluctuate.
They fluctuate with the like excitement of the match.
Rude is almost all the way to the locker room, and when the announcement comes, he's shown astonished and mad at the decision and begins to make his way back to the ring and starts yelling at the ref. And we go to a commercial break.
Yeah,
at
the
this
commercial
point.
breaks are weird. It just goes black. Also, the music in Royal Rumble's music, extra bad. It's just extra bad. It's not good.
So when we come back, Mean Gene's on a stage with Jesse Ventura, where Dino Bravo is going to attempt to bench press a world record 715 pounds, and Ventura is going to be his spotter. And Michael just leaned back, like he's like, "Holy hell, what the was this?"
This is like longer than like fucking I don't know, like than the whole extended cut of like Lord of the Rings. and it has potential to be good, but it takes too much time. Which I understand, like wasting people's time is a heel thing to do, and you'll get a bigger response because of it. Continue, just go.
Like I have a list of notes, and like as I was writing, I'm just like, God, I don't want to talk about this at all.
Well, let's make it quicker than what we watched.
Okay, so basically, comes out. They're gonna warm up, which I've never.
This is obviously
I've never heard of.
This is
I mean,
they're
maybe
selling
in-
they're selling the like the Vince's like fucking like weightlifting like bodybuilding fucking deal. Like that was happening at this time, right?
I mean, this became Dino Bravo's new gimmick, basically.
Yeah, but they're still trying to sell like the whole like because he was doing the what was it called?
the World Bodybuilding
Yeah,
Federation.
like this is that time period, right?
That's right around then, yeah.
But like it's not before. It's not like it's not after it was dead. It's like
I'm not real sure.
yeah. I mean yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
Nobody's particularly well versed in that because it didn't fucking work.
But basically, they come out. Dino Bravo and his manager Frenchie Martin. They make their way to the stage, and Frenchie says things in French.
My favorite part about that was because like they're not in French Canada, so him speaking French is like funny because
Yeah.
like he's like doing that, and these are the Canadians that.
They should be cheering for this.
Well, no, they're not, but they're not in like. I don't
They're
think.
not in the,
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
in part of the country that.
Yeah,
speaks
but
French.
like they're also annoyed, so it's just like, oh, this guy's like really douching it up.
But basically, they're gonna warm up like starting at a lower weight, which they start with
Yeah.
like 415 pounds, and then they start
keep adding
working
up.
their way
Yeah.
up. And every time, Bravo's demanding silence.
And everyone's he's like he
concentration.
demands silence. Thing is, if Bravo was good on the mic or a better like physical like acting, like had a better acting chops, then maybe it could work. Because could you imagine like The Rock in 1997 doing this?
God, no.
Before he was hated, like, but when he was still hated, I mean, like when he was like Rocky Maivia, when he's like in the Nation, could you imagine him doing that in the Nation? It would have been good because he could sell it.
Instead of this,
It wouldn't have happened because of a different time, but like, could you imagine that person with that kind of like ability to do a spot like that where it's an actually entertaining?
But I felt like this got him more not genuine heat. It got him go away heat.
Yeah, I got like we don't want to see you heat.
Yeah.
It's like Baron Corbin heat.
Like literally, they do like 3 setups, and I literally wrote, "This is taking way too long."
Yeah, I was losing my shit about it. I was like,
and
fucking.
they just keep going. Like there is like 6.
This is all Vince McMahon shit. This is all Vinnie Mac
There's
shit.
like 6 setups basically.
Yeah, it's Vinnie Mac shit though.
But basically, at the end,
I even took extensive notes that aren't even worth reading.
I'm literally skimming my notes.
They
'cause
boo.
I'm
I even have
just-
like the weight that they added.
I feel like we've already talked about this more than I wanted to.
I know. It's
Uh,
legitimately entertaining. This one goes on for 5 ever too.
It literally, this segment goes on as long as the Rick Rude Steamboat match.
Yeah.
Because there's not a commercial break in the middle of this at
No.
all. There wasn't one in the middle of
I mean,
the Rude
they have
Steamboat.
all the wrestlers are in the Rumble, so that's why they did
I
this.
mean, basically, they finally get to the unofficial 715 pounds. He starts to lift it. He can't quite get it up. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And then Jesse helps him.
Well, basically, he pushes up, but Jesse like is the spotter, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" He's the spotter, and they actually explain how to lift weights, and like I don't fucking bench press. I don't bench press, but I know that if you're lifting heavy weight, you have a spotter.
Yeah, I do know that much. So you don't like have it fall on you and destroy you.
Yeah. If I was benching tomorrow, I would probably just be doing the pull. Let's start with the pull. It's about control, right?
That's what she said too.
It's about the pull. It's about control.
Speaking of what she said, we got the second match. Glamour Girls, consisting of Judy Martin and Leilani Kai with Jimmy Hart, versus the Jumping Bomb Angels,
Red and pink.
Norio Tatino and Itsuki Yamasaki,
Yeah.
in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWF Women's Tag Team Championship.
Is it also an elimination?
No.
It's not? Okay.
No.
I'm getting something else twisted.
So the story behind this match was that the Jumping Bomb Angels had pinned the Glamour Girls at Survivor Series, which
And
we raved about that.
if you have
match.
if you haven't watched that match, go back and watch that match.
Yeah.
Like, just go back and watch that match.
That
You don't
match.
like Survivor Series is fine. It's not great. It's
not
not. It's
amazing.
not awful. But that match
It was great.
is important.
And then after the show, they signed a contract to face them here at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So the champs are already in the ring, and the challengers get an entrance.
I know. Well, I don't remember. What they're saying.
Foreshadowing?
If we're only lucky.
Howard Finkel still doesn't attempt to say the Bomb Angels' names.
No, and that's a running joke through the match that I really appreciated.
So the Jumping Bomb Angels start off with a double drop kick on the Glamour Girls, and then we get Kai Irish whipping Norio right into Martin's knee. We get a slam and a pin attempt by Martin, but Norio bridges out, and then a schoolgirl pin attempt by Tatino.
There's also, I believe it was Red does like a Okada style like shotgun drop kick.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see at that time.
Itsuki Irish whips Martin, then does a tumbling headbutt, and then picks Martin up into a pile driver position, but drops her with a side suplex. Jesse then asks what the names of the Jumping Bomb Angels are.
And Vince has no
Vince-
idea.
Vince says, "Unfortunately, I don't speak Japanese all that well."
All that well.
You don't have to speak Japanese to say names.
No, that's true. I have friends that can't like say things. Can't even say Japanese names. They're like, and they say it, and it's really funny. It's like they can't even say the name. It's kind of like a good example is like the famous comic book like Akira is what everybody calls it, but like it's Akira. It's like that's the correct pronunciation.
It's Akira in English.
It's Akira.
So Vince is going to go with Pink and Red, as you mentioned earlier. So we get a flying body press by Pink, Norio, but Martin catches her and slams her. Martin then attempts a running elbow drop, but Tatino moves, and then we get a missile drop kick by Itsuki on Kai, and then an octopus hold.
Ugh, these girls are so fucking good.
Martin
It's kind of upsetting how good they are.
Yeah. Martin comes in and ends up kicking Kai, which brings in Norio, who gives Martin a drop kick. And the Jumping Bomb Angels lock in stereo figure fours onto the Glamour Girls. Itsuki then hits a double leg drop onto the thighs of Kai a couple of times, which was a move, like, even Jesse mentions that,
Yeah.
like, he had never seen a move like this before.
Well, what's crazy is the commentary team is like so over for like both of them together, which like the whole idea is like face heel, like Vince is the straight guy and Jesse's the heel, but like
But Jesse's even putting over
they're
the
both
Jumping-
putting over the Jumping Bomb Angels because
Yeah.
how could you not?
Jumping Bomb Angels continue to work on Kai's legs for a little bit, and then Kai begins crawling to her corner when Martin comes in to pull her, but the Jumping Bomb Angels are trying to pull her back to their corner,
Yeah.
and we kind of get the tug of war using
Oh yeah, we get the
using,
shotgun. This is the shotgun spot.
using Kai, which lifts Kai up into the air and dropped face first.
Yeah,
onto
and
the
it's
mat.
great. Yeah, it's basically like slingshot her.
Once Kai gets out of the ring, once she tags out, Jimmy Hart comes over and starts rubbing her leg to help get circulation back
Yeah,
in.
I'm sure that's exactly what Jimmy Hart was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Little skis.
Martin then Irish whips Suzuki into the corner, but rushes in, but Yamazuki goes to kick her, but Judy catches and pulls her off for almost like a powerbomb move.
It was weird. There's a lot of stuff in this match that's like stuff you've like almost seen before, but
Yeah.
somehow kind of different.
We then get a leapfrog by Itsuki, but Kai hits a kick to the back from the outside. And then Martin then hits an alley-oop powerbomb for the 3 count. The Glamour Girl, we go to a commercial at this
Yeah.
point, because they take a commercial in between the
Well,
falls,
there's
which I
yeah.
thought was actually smart, that I think that's probably the reason why they made this a 2 out of 3 falls match. Because then they could take a
break,
commercial
yeah.
break in between each fall.
Yeah.
So,
So this was live. It wasn't
Yeah,
like the
it
next
was
day or
live.
something.
It was
Okay.
live.
That's
So I
cool.
was very appreciative of
Yeah,
that.
because I was trying to figure out if it was live. I like as soon as I saw commercial breaks, I knew, and when they were throwing into commercials, I knew it wasn't like a technical pay-per-view.
So the Glamour Girls obviously take the first fall. Jimmy Hart jumps in the ring, starts to celebrate and hug his girls. And when we come back from commercial, the match kind of already started by the time we've come back. We see Itsuki bridge out of another pin attempt
Oh,
after a diving
those bridges are
crossbody.
good. They're good.
Yeah, they're great.
You see that stuff in like, basically in like kind of like juniors, male and female juniors at this point,
Yeah.
like currently.
We get a scoop slam and then a splash attempt by Kai, but Itsuki moves, and then it hits a drop kick and a leaping clothesline to put Kai down. Tatino goes to the top rope for a diving crossbody. Vince finally says the Jumping Bomb Angels' names.
Oh, okay. Because you already said this. I was like, oh, he said their names now.
And Jesse says Tatino sounds Italian to him.
There's one kind of botchy spot where there's like Red does like a sunset, I think.
The Jumping Bomb Angels give a double team suplex to Kai, and then Martin comes into the ring, and we get stereo Irish whips from the Angels, which are reversed, but then the Angels stop from hitting each other.
So good.
So the Glamour Girls go for a stereo clothesline, but the Angels duck, and the Glamour Girls hit each other.
It's so good. What kind of storytelling is that? Is that the good kind?
It's very good. Martin then picks Izuki up, but she rolls over for a sunset flip and gets the 3 count.
Yeah.
So we're tied at 1 count for each.
Is that there was a weird kind of like fluffy botch, but it's okay.
So we come back over for commercial. Jumping Bomb Angels start off with some double team knees and clotheslines. Itsuki hits an enziguri, which Jesse and Vince don't call it an enziguri.
No.
It's just like a kick to the head.
That's the thing I want to bring up later.
Kai throws Tatino into the corner and charges in after her, but Norio leapfrogs and pulls Kai down for a backslide pin attempt. Leilani rolls through. Kai catapults Tatino towards her corner, followed by a double underhook suplex, and goes for the pin, but only a 2 count.
But that double underhook though.
It's good. Kai Irish whips Tatino and goes for an elbow, but Norio blocks it. And then we got Kai throwing wild punches, but Tatino ducks them, grabs Leilani, and drops her with a reverse underhook facebuster.
These women.
Which was an amazing move.
These goddamn women.
Itsuki with a scoop slam, followed by a Tatino top rope knee drop. And then Tatino hits the double underhook suplex for a 2 count. Itsuki then hits a scoop slam and goes to the top rope, but misses a senton bomb when Martin moves.
Oh, that senton, like top rope senton.
Tatino then hits a diving clothesline and goes for the pin, but Kai breaks it up. And as the ref is getting Kai out of the ring, the Jumping Bomb Angels hit stereo top rope drop kicks on Martin, and Tatino gets the pin and the win.
And no. Goddamn.
So good.
I was like, man, why is there not just a like black and white T-shirt of like the stereo drop kicks?
Is that our next T-shirt?
We're just gonna it's probably hard to find a like solid image of it, but like,
Probably.
goddamn, how many is there 0 Jumping Bomb Angel matches after this? Do they just lose them on the road? Does nobody remember?
I think they lose them at WrestleMania. I think they lose them just in a house show, and then they basically
they're like, yo, we're gonna go
disappear.
back home.
Yeah, the titles just disappear until
It's
2019.
insane. Until the year we are living.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, this match is
It was
a blessing.
It was great.
And after the match, Jesse points out that the Golden Girl had a shoulder up, and they
Do a
at
replay.
this point they do the replay because like the production quality is just getting good. It's getting good. He's right, and I'm like, that sucks because it's like it sucks because I want the Jumping Bomb Angels to have a clean win.
See, I didn't see this at all.
And it probably sucks because we probably won't get another match. But I don't know. I try not to look too far ahead because I like to be surprised.
95% sure this is the last Jumping Bomb Angels match we'll ever see.
Yeah, I mean that we'll see in the WWF.
That we'll ever see.
Yeah, outside of me looking behind me.
except for
Well,
you.
I mean in Japan I think they had a different name for their tag team, but
So we head off to Vincey and Jess.
Vincey.
Vince and
Vincey. He's
And
Vincey
they-
now.
Yeah, and they recap the Hogan-Andre feud, and we get some footage from WrestleMania 3 and the missed 3 count.
How do you feel about the missed 3 count? Do you think it's a 3 count? Do you think
I
or do you think that it's absolutely perfect because it is?
Here's the thing. I mentioned it
Yeah.
when we did our review of WrestleMania 3 without any knowledge that was what they were going to use
Later
to
on.
continue the feud.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's perfect.
it plays well.
It's perfect because it's like there's an argument on either side.
Exactly.
And it's great because there's like a perfect argument on either side, and the argument for Andre is much smaller than the argument for, because he's a heel. It's like this is Hulkamania, baby.
Yeah.
It's
And we
good.
see Ted DiBiase has inserted himself into the main event scene, saying he's going to buy the world title.
God, DiBiase.
And then Hogan's interviewed and answers DiBiase with a
Hell no. Yeah. Oh man, it's good.
$1 Million Man says he always gets what he wants.
He gonna buy that title.
And then we see footage from a Saturday Night Main Event where Andre attacks Hogan from behind, basically just like squeezes.
It's like it's like basically like a back from behind, like
Yeah.
a sneak choke.
And then DiBiase asks Andre.
It's like kind of like a reverse Frankenstein choke.
DiBiase asks Andre if he will deliver the title for him. And so we go to Mean Gene in the ring.
What's funny now is like that, like Andre is like gonna just like get the title and give it to Ted DiBiase, but a few years ago, like he didn't even want the money. He was like, oh, like he won and like had the money and just like threw it out into the crowd.
That's true.
So it's like it's kind of funny. It's like I think he's like him being like, is he grizzled? Is he like tainted by the fact that like Hogan's just always winning?
So Mean Gene's in the ring with a table for the official signing of the contract for Hogan and Andre to meet on February 5th.
It's the most solid table in all of contract signings inside of a wrestling ring. It is not a card table.
And so it's 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and we see contract signings all the time,
I try to skip them, but I do watch them.
but it's not a modern era idea. It goes all the way back
Yeah.
to at least 1988.
Yeah, this is the first one we've seen
Exactly.
on a paper like quote unquote pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like we're
I
not
mean-
watching all the weekly shows. Maybe there've been some on weekly shows. It's a great way to pad out a weekly show.
Exactly.
That's how you pad out a weekly show. And this is on live on TV, so it's like, you know.
So Oakland introduces President Jack Tunney, who's there. Hogan sits down. Everyone starts asking Andre to come sit down, but he just keeps standing in the corner.
Is Jack Tunney the worst on the microphone? Considering he's like the
Why they just kind of
he's so bad.
didn't have him around for very much.
Give that thing to Monsoon.
Finally, Andre sits down, and then DiBiase grabs the mic and starts taunting Hogan about signing. And Hogan just signs right away,
He's pumped up, man.
while DiBiase says he just signed his career away, and you will be history.
It's good. And you didn't mention that Virgil's there, right?
Did not mention Virgil's there, but he is there as
Virgil's
well.
there. He's wearing like the like sleeveless like silver like suit. It's
Yeah,
like
it looks
basically
like
like
a suit without arms.
yeah. But Virgil's fun. He's like stern. He has a great body. He looks imposing.
And a small moment that a lot of people probably miss, but sometimes I see these. Hogan, after he signs, just gently pushes Tunney's hand with the pin towards Andre. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah?
get him to sign.
He's like, yeah, this is in your hands now.
And the entire time, Andre starts picking up the contract and like looking through it and just like.
Yeah.
And the
like,
entire time, Hogan is mean mugging the dude.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, ATG was mean mugging him before that.
Andre finally signs, and then DiBiase tells Andre to put his official stamp of approval on it. And Hogan tries to grab DiBiase, but Andre grabs Hogan and slams his head into the table and then flips the table onto him.
But does Andre really do that? We'll talk about that later.
So we get Vince and Jesse. We go back to Vince and Jesse, and they're previewing the Royal Rumble match, the participants, and the rules of the match.
What are the rules of Royal Rumble, Matthew?
Well, the Royal Rumble rules in this one
Yeah.
are each wrestler drew a number in the back. The first two are
I mean,
in
that's
the
kind
ring.
of like what at this point, that's like known. But everybody knows that like somebody was like, oh, well, we got to do this to book it this way.
And every 2 minutes, another wrestler will enter until all have entered. Elimination happens when a wrestler is thrown over the top rope at any time. Not his feet hit the ground,
Just
but
thrown
if
over the
a
top,
wrestler is
thrown
thrown
over
over the top rope.
Yeah, and there is
So it's slightly different
yeah.
than what we're used to now.
Yeah. It's like you could be thrown over the top and like catch the apron and roll back in. Now.
Well, we'll see a couple instances
I know.
of things that happen in this match, and I'm like, wait.
I feel your tease.
So we got Bret Hart with Jimmy Hart as entrant number 1, and
Yeah.
Tito Santana as entrant number 2.
I love Brett's mostly pink gear.
Yeah, it is.
It's so good.
We see the two matching up. Bret leapfrogs Tito, but Santana stops and lays out Hart with his right hand, and then tries to toss him over, but Bret blocks. Hart hits an atomic drop and then comes off the second rope with an elbow drop to the back of the neck. Entrant number 3, the Natural, Butch Reed, enters And then Tito Irish whips Brett, but a reversal sends Tito into the ropes, and he comes flying off with a forearm. Reed finally is in and goes straight after Santana. Reed has Tito halfway over the rope, but Santana fights back and gives a double noggin knocker to Reed and Hart.
All the while, Jesse Ventura keeps referring to Tito Santana as Chico.
He continuing to be?
Yeah, he's going Chico, and yeah, it's funny. It's mostly harmless.
Hart and Reed finally start double teaming Tito with a second rope, axe handle, and a double clothesline. And entrant number 4 is Jim Neidhart. Sounds like bad news for Tito.
Oh yeah.
Reed goes to give a big knee to Santana, who's being held by Hart, but Tito moves and Brett is sent almost over the top rope, but he is able to regain his balance. We then see a triple team against Santana, and they attempt to toss Tito over the top rope.
You know what JV refers to that triple team as? He says that he must feel like a rotten enchilada. Chico.
Entrant number 5, Jake the Snake Roberts, who's running to the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And as he enters, he tosses Butch Reed over the ropes for our first elimination of the match.
Poor Butch. Straight out.
Roberts then, with a lot of right hands on the Hart Foundation.
The Roberts pop is huge. There's like DDT chants immediately.
Literally, every time he's even close to there's a DD chant.
He's so goddamn fucking over. It's great.
As the crowd's chanting for the DDT, Tito and Jake Irish whip the Hart Foundation into each other, and Roberts sets up for the DDT on Brett, but Neidhart saves him with a clothesline. And entrant number 6 is King Dadbod.
Harley Race. Okay. For a second I thought it was about to be my boy, but it's not my boy. My boy's next, I think.
And nothing really happens until entrant number 7, Jim Brunzell.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, I guess they had a couple back-to-back where nothing happened. Yeah. The Killer Bee himself.
Brunzell going after the Hart Foundation, and he almost gets Bret Hart over, but then everybody joins in and either trying to push him out or keep him in. It was all 6 guys that are in the ring, the 3 heels and the 3 faces.
Jake the Snake has a real nice spot where he pulls Neidhart's beard. It's really fun. Just fucking yanks on his long ass lame ZZ Top goatee, because it's not full on. It's just a tiny ZZ Top. Yeah. It's just either go all out or keep it clean.
And then it's time for entrant number 8.
Is it who I think it is?
Is it
the not so famous brother of Jake the Snake Roberts? Is it the Bump Machine himself? Is it the Bump Machine that doesn't really take very many bumps in this match? Is this the man that I will probably never see again? Is this
this guy's
Samuel Baby Doll Roberts? Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Sorry, I said Roberts, but it fits in with the joke.
The Hart Foundation tosses Tito Santana over the top rope to the floor for an elimination. Entrant number 9, Dangerous Danny Davis. And Houston's laying on the right hands on Davis. We got Harley stuck between the top and middle rope doing the pendulum swing thing while Roberts keeps hitting him.
Danny Davis is MVP of this match.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Okay, I was throwing it out here. I know it's early, but I'm just throwing it out there because when you said Danny Davis, it's oh yeah, I watched this. I remember this.
Entrant number 10, Boris Zukov. Zukov has Houston halfway over the rope, but a rake of the eyes helps him escape. And then Davis hits a drop kick on Houston. And then we get entrant number 11. But there's 2 guys running out.
Oh yeah.
Don Morocco and Nikolai Volkov. What's going on?
Why did they want to get in the ring so fast? Wouldn't you want to be the later contestant?
You would think so.
What's the story behind the match, Matthew?
I don't know. I assume. Well, I assume Volkov wants to get in to help Boris Zukov.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That was dumb of me.
But Morocco hits Volkov on the outside, laying him out, and then he crawls into the ring. So he's entrant number 11. Roberts and Brunzell finally are able to get Zukov over the rope and is eliminated. So before Volkov is even able to get in the ring, Zukov's eliminated.
Yeah.
Volkov is then finally allowed to enter the ring as entrant number 12, and Hart tosses Brunzell over the rope, but he slips back through the ropes, and then Morocco sends Harley Race over the floor to be eliminated.
It's really in character for the Killer Bees, honestly. For faces that did that shady shit at WrestleMania 3, right? Mm-hmm. They were the opening match on WrestleMania 3.
At every match
where they do the weird like heel thing, but they get like baby face love because they work like baby faces, but they're like, they're not anti-American, so nobody cares if they cheat.
Race
And
is trying to.
I'm also not talking shit. I'm a big Killer Bee guy fan.
You do like the Killer Bees.
Well, you like the Killer Bees, right?
I do. I
Okay,
do like the Killer
just
Bees.
making sure you're not.
So Race is, after being eliminated, trying to get back in, but the refs keep him from doing so. And then Hart has Roberts almost over when Sam Houston runs over and hits Brett to help keep the snake
To save
in the match.
his real brother, not his kayfabe brother.
Gotta love that brotherly love.
They've never said that they were brothers like in kayfabe, did
No.
they?
And then entrant number 13, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. As
Dude, continue. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Duggan is so over,
Yeah.
and it's fucking annoying. And that's my take. Continue.
As Duggan gets to the ring, he pushes Race, who's still on the outside of the ring,
Yeah.
which Harley responds with a clothesline. Duggan then chases Race back to the locker room, and then we get a
Oh, yeah, and the crowd does that the rest of the match, and I can't fucking stand it. I should love it. I don't.
You should love it.
Yeah,
feels
it sounds like a thing that I
feels
would
like
love.
You should love.
Yeah, like it seriously seems like a thing that I should love.
And he finally enters the ring. Then entrant number 14, Outlaw Ron Bass. As he's entering, Roberts is about to slam Danny Davis over the top rope when Volkov kicks the snake to save him. And then Brunzell tries to pick Volkov up, but Nikolai lifts Jumping Jimmy over the top rope to be eliminated. So Jimmy Brunzell's gone.
Aw, bud.
Unfortunately, that means entrant number 15, B. Brian Blair, doesn't have his tag team
He
partner.
doesn't. Triple B.
And nothing really happens between him and then entrant number 16, Hillbilly Jim, coming to the ring.
Hillbilly Jim looks so big in this match. I don't know if he lost weight or it's just been a while since I saw him, or he had a better fitting, what is it called? A fucking, not a onesie, but overalls. But he looked like a monster.
Hillbilly Jim back body drops Neidhart over the top rope to be eliminated. And then Bass tosses Blair over the ropes, but he slips back through the ropes. So both Killer Bees get tossed over the rope, but they slip back in before technically going to the apron.
Killer Bees are the shady MVPs of
Very shady.
they're the right kind of shady.
And then we get entrant number 17, it's Dino Bravo with Frenchie Martin. Thankfully, he's not lifting weights.
Nah.
Houston's in an electric chair position on Bass, pounding on the top of his head, but the Outlaw makes it to the ropes and sends someone's favorite over the ropes to be eliminated.
But which favorite?
That's your favorite.
Which favorite?
Sam Houston.
Oh, Sam Houston. Well, it's like I think one of my other favorites is about to come. Sam Houston. But yeah, Sam Houston didn't do shit in this match, but it was also a Royal Rumble, and I feel like this Royal Rumble was mapped out really well. It's entertaining. But there's not a whole lot of big spots because it's a lot of brawling. But it's shot well and it's timed well for. We'll get to that later.
Entrant number 18, the Ultimate Warrior.
Is this our first?
It's our first Warrior match.
Our first UW.
Ultimate Warrior
Looks terrifying.
is a WWE Hall of Famer.
I always forget about this bit because the longer it goes, we don't have to do this as often.
You don't have to do it as
And
often.
when we first started, I was like, "We're doing this every guy," and you were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, Matt."
We won't have to do it all that often.
No, yeah.
Morocco then tosses Bret Hart out to be eliminated at the time of 25 minutes and 42 seconds.
Bret Hart.
Iron Man of the match.
They're building him up, but for some reason, I just thought he might have gone longer. Not that he didn't go long, because he did.
Entrant number 19, One Man Gang.
One Man Gang,
Your least favorite.
the poor man's Bam Bam, the poorer man's Vader. It's just ugh.
So One Man Gang gets in, tosses B. Brian Blair, and then Jake the Snake Roberts over to be eliminated. And then we got entrant number 20.
JYD.
Time to grab them cakes.
Oh man, JYD is probably half cocked. He is probably halfway through a 750. It doesn't necessarily look bad, but it's one of those things where he came out late. He has a pretty good pop. He doesn't get a Duggan pop, but he gets a real good pop. He doesn't look terrible physically, but nobody in this match really does anything impressive.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of good storytelling.
So Warrior hits a double noggin knocker on Davis and Bass to give an idea of what's still in the ring. The smallest man is Danny Davis left.
Yeah.
The next smallest
So you're
guy...
telling me Danny Davis is going to win the Royal Rumble, 88?
It's possible.
I don't know.
The next smallest guy, I'm like literally paused and I'm like looking in the ring and I'm like, is the next smallest guy the Ultimate Warrior? That tells you...
Ultimate Warrior probably weighs the same as fucking One Man Gang because, like, muscle weighs more than fat.
But that tells you...
It's a
the
big boys.
size
Yeah.
of everybody in
Yeah.
this match.
That match is, that ring is extra stiff for this show.
Volkov and Duggan are brawling when Hacksaw ducks a punch and backbody drops Nikolai over to be eliminated. One Man Gang then backbody drops Hillbilly Jim over to be eliminated. Duggan goes to the 3-point stance and gives a clothesline that sends Danny Davis over to be eliminated. If you're not catching the idea of this, like, lots of brawling at the first part of this match, and now it's just like literally every move
Is like
elimination.
Yeah.
Someone. Dino Bravo and One Man Gang team up to toss Ultimate Warrior over to be eliminated. And the One Man Gang eye-rakes JYD, and then Ron Bass comes over and tosses him right over to be eliminated.
He rolls my barrel root beer out.
And JYD has the shortest time in the match at just a tidbit over 2 minutes.
They buried my hero, my not like in-ring hero, but my charismatic hero.
Morocco then hits Bass with a clothesline from behind that sends Ron Bass over to be eliminated.
Also, Morocco's been in this match longer than Brett, right?
Nope. Brett goes
Really?
the longest in this match out of everybody.
I guess Morocco was like second or third.
Goes like 10th, I think.
Was he really?
11th.
Okay. Well, he looked good, and he's pretty magnetic considering the amount of people that are in the ring.
So our final four, Morocco, Bravo, Duggan, and One Man Gang. So 2 faces, 2 heels.
Yeah, not the 4 that if you asked if like a week or 2 ago you're like, hey man, in Royal Rumble '88,
I'm going to give you these
here's
20 names.
Well, like, yeah, here's 20 names. Like, pick the last 4.
Definitely not the last 4, I would think.
No, sir.
So
Which was exciting for me to watch it.
Yeah, Bravo Irish whips Duggan, and then One Man Gang with the clothesline in the corner. Bravo and One Man Gang team up on Morocco, but Morocco's fighting back. Morocco drop kicks the gang, sending him stumbling towards the ropes, but Frenchie Martin jumps up on the apron and The Rock drop kicks him. Bravo's holding Morocco, and One Man Gang gives a clothesline to send The Rock over to be eliminated. Duggan looks to get double teamed, but he takes the fight to Bravo and One Man Gang, but the heels finally get the advantage after a double clothesline. Bravo's holding Duggan with One Man Gang going for another clothesline, but Duggan moves and Bravo is sent over the ropes to be eliminated.
Yeah, well, that's also like earlier in the match they did that spot too.
Yeah,
To who?
it was just earlier. That's how they sent Morocco out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like, literally they did
yeah.
the same spot, but
It's
this
a good
time-
setup.
This time the face moved.
It's a good setup, and it's like a different kind of fan at that time. It's like not everybody's gonna remember the thing from the beginning.
So Duggan and One Man Gang are left, and we get lots of lefts and rights from Duggan, but One Man Gang regains control.
Also,
after a
what
forearm to
is
the
the
back.
what is the Duggan like chant that everybody does? He goes like this. He lifts
Whoa!
his arm, and they just go. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Duggan is on the ropes when One Man Gang comes charging in for a clothesline. Duggan ducks, pulls the top rope down, and One Man Gang goes over to be eliminated. But he did have the most eliminations with 6.
Yeah.
And Hacksaw Jim Duggan is our winner. And for winning, you get,
Another
Absolutely
a
nothing.
new 2x4.
basically, you get no prize for
A
winning this Royal Rumble.
4x4. It's a Nissan truck.
It'll be a few years before there's a major prize given for winning this match.
Yeah.
So then we go to Vince and Jesse, who talk some more about Hulk and Andre, and we see a replay of what we saw earlier in the night of the contract signing. And then Greg DeGeorge is on the stage with Hulk Hogan. And Hogan, a few quotes that I have here from Hogan.
Oh, okay.
Every trick they pull, it adds fuel to the fire. And then he's been waiting for another chance, but you won't be able to break the Hulkamania.
Oh, I have some different ones. I have wires crossed. He's got a dagger in the ribs. You got your wires crossed. Like, he pulls his shirt off. Funny that we have like the things that you quoted in your notes and me from the same Hulk promo is very funny. Because I guess I pulled the weirder stuff. But he's got to defeat all. Yeah. defeat me. You got to defeat me. You got to defeat all these, which is acronym I just made up the other day. But hams, which is Hulkamaniacs.
Yeah.
You got to defeat all these hams, which is pretty funny because Hulk is definitely a ham, well-basted ham.
So we're headed off to our fourth match. We got the Islanders of Haku and Tamu versus the Young Stallions of Jim Powers and Paul Roma.
And the Young Stallions have a good entrance tune.
And this is a 2 out of 3 falls match as well.
Is this the elimination one? Is there? Or
No,
am
there's
I'm
not an
I'm
elimination.
conflating something.
Yeah, you're going crazy over here.
I
bro.
am sorry.
And once
But
again,
what's
I
the
think
story of the match? There's something about the health of Matilda.
Well, that's more
Because
what-
like that's British Bulldogs. Like that the same Matilda?
Yeah, the Islanders have been feuding with the British Bulldogs.
Yeah.
They dog-napped Matilda. I didn't really go into any of that stuff because it didn't really pertain to this match.
They
talk about it,
though.
It's about the Islanders, but
Yeah.
it doesn't pertain to this match in particular.
Okay.
We'll get to it probably at WrestleMania 4.
That's
in a
called
couple
that's
weeks.
called foreshadowing.
So we see the match start. Powers hits an atomic drop on Tamu, sending him towards the Stallion's corner where Roma punches him, and then Powers punches him, and then Roma claps the ear. And then Roma with a pair of leapfrogs. Haku is running the ropes, then an arm drag, but Haku reverses the arm drag into an arm drag of his own.
What's really fucked up about this match is like it's a lot of really great action, but like Jesse and Vince aren't really calling it at the time. They're just talking about like the bench press segment and going back and forth over it,
Yes,
over this
they're
match, and it's
arguing.
really annoying because like even Vince, who probably made up the bench press thing, like in character is calling the bench press segment fucking boring, straight out to like Jesse and like talking shit to him or whatever. But there's an amazing tag match happening in front of them, and it really took me kind of out of the match because I was so annoyed with them not paying attention to what I thought was a
Yeah.
really well executed tag match. Like there's 2 great matches on this show. They're both tag matches. This is one of them.
We'll talk more about that later. So Roma is Irish whipped, ducks a Haku clothesline attempt, and comes off the ropes with a crossbody. The Islanders get lots of quick tags and double team moves to keep Powers in their corner.
You know, like a tag team.
A diving clothesline and then a drop kick by Roma on Tamu, and then another drop kick and a pin attempt, but Haku breaks it up. Tamu then throws Roma out of the ring, and Paul is having a hard time getting to his feet as he is holding his leg. And Roma is counted out, so the first fall goes to the Islanders.
So good.
And we go to a commercial. Now, when we come back from commercial, the Stallions, I guess, have gone to the locker room to get medical attention,
Yeah.
which we all know why once they start, but it seems weird that they would allow a team to just leave the ring.
Oh, you're just saying they're gonna go back and do like drugs?
No,
Think they're gonna do some cocaine?
It's so that we can get another replay of Hogan and Andre.
I know, I'm talking shit. I mean, you know, to
And
each their
then-
own. Maybe they were straight edge.
And then Greg DeGeorge is on the stage with Andre DiBiase and Virgil. I got a few quotes here from DiBiase.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beginning of the end of Hulkamania,
Hell yeah.
and then he always gets what he wants. And then Andre says, "I'm still undefeated, and I will deliver the title to DiBiase."
I have different ones still. More than a statement, we painted a picture, Ted DiBiase says, and I'm like, fuck, that's good. But yeah, Virgil's got some Crispies on the outside, holding up some cash. Ted DiBiase, how you gonna do it? ATG, I'm undefeated, and still undefeated. Destroy Hulkamania. I will deliver the championship. The thing that I find really bizarre is like, even like throughout the whole show, I don't think we've talked about it yet, but throughout the whole show, Jesse and Vince are putting over like the fact that Andre is in quote unquote like the best shape he's ever been in. It's like
when he's technically
obvi-
in the
well,
worst
yeah,
shape.
yeah.
of his
Like
entire
I mean,
life.
like the man is like it's not his fault, as is the cards he was dealt. But like it's kind of obvious, and we'll talk about it with the table flip and stuff. But like it's really weird, and it also like kind of adds a weird sadness to it because we all know, you know, I mean, Andre gets. We'll talk about it later, but it's really weird that they keep saying. Like, I feel like we should have said it earlier, but they keep talking about how, like, oh, this Andre's in the best shape he's ever been in. And it's like, that's
Is
obvious. Like
he?
it's like, yeah, it's like that's so like you guys know more about like weightlifting and physical health than your wrestling fans. That's for sure. But yeah, putting that over is really weird. Where they don't have to do that. They could make up any other thing about Andre. But like he's big, or like they could be like, oh, like he's angry now. You don't want to piss off a giant, or like he's now motivated by money and ready to fucking retire and take what he can get on his way out. Like there's so many other things to do,
That's
but
good points.
the shape thing is just like kind of feels like weird because it's
all
so
know
it's
the truth
it's
at
so
this
obvious, and then in like hindsight, of course, but even at the time, it looks obvious.
Yeah. So the interview's over, and the Stallions make their way back to the ring as we go to another commercial. And when we come back, the ref makes Roma get back into the ring. Like, Jim Powers tries to start, but the ref's like, no, Roma was the legal man.
Yeah,
So he makes him get back in.
he pulled a real Eddie move, and did the right thing.
That Eddie, I swear. And we see Roma's knee is taped up at this point, and Tama starts attacking that knee right away.
You said Tama.
Tamu with a scoop slam and then a splash attempt, but Roma's get the knees up, which ends up hurting him as much as it did the Islander. And then Roma is able to crawl over and tag Powers in. Big body drop by Powers on Haku, and then begins to slam the Islander's head into the turnbuckle. He then hits a drop kick and a vertical suplex on Haku, and then we get a double headbutt by the Islanders to help regain control over Powers. And the entire time in the conversation between Jesse and Vince, they're talking about like
their commentary, like the commentary on the show is good, except for the last match. They just somehow stopped talking about the match, and it's upsetting.
They did mention like right around this point that like, would it be better if Powers tagged Roma in with his hurt leg, or for him just to stay in? They kind of play that up a little bit at the very end of this match.
I do like that Jesse at one point says this about himself, which is like super honest. Probably one of the more honest things Jesse says about himself in character. But he says, "I'm the immoral minority," and I'm like, what a fucking bizarre sentence that sounds so good. And like huh, okay, all right.
All right.
Yeah, you kind of like triple take.
So Haku Irish whips Powers, who comes back to roll up the Islander with a small package for a 2 count. Haku then hits a body slam and comes off the ropes to do a somersault splash, but Powers moves. Powers makes the tag to Roma, but Haku immediately goes for the leg, and Paul is writhing in pain.
Paul fucking gets it.
Haku is holding Roma's leg out while Tamu comes off the top rope with a splash directly onto the leg. And then Haku locks on a single leg Boston Crab, and Roma taps out. And the Islanders win the match.
But you know what?
2-0.
You know what else happens though?
What else happens?
Roma sells that fucking shit
yeah.
like death. Like Roma, fucking.
When I say
kills.
writhing in pain, like literally,
yeah.
I'm watching it and I'm like, that's just not like
No,
I'm
no.
hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm extremely hurt.
He sells it like he sells it like if you punched your brother in the face and he went to go tell on you. Like he sells it as well as him telling on you, but in the ring physically. It's a bad analogy, but you get it.
I get it.
We've all hit a sibling.
So then Vince and Jesse recap the evening and say their goodbyes.
Also, 2 straight falls.
2 straight falls.
2 straight falls. I'm a fan of 2 straight falls.
It's good to throw that in there every once in a while in a 2 out of 3 falls match instead of going 1-1 and then.
The Islanders theme is good as well, and I'm excited for you to be able to play that in this show because you have to, right?
That's right. Overall thoughts, Mr. Temple?
Does Hulk not come back out and pose?
He does not.
Overall thoughts. Steamboat tapping was annoying, and if he didn't do it, it could have been a really good to great match, but it kind of takes you out of it. But outside of that, it's pretty solid. I say that about Steamboat, but it's true. The Jumping Bomb Angels Glamour Girls match, you should watch twice. The actual Royal Rumble is legitimately entertaining, I think. I think that it's like done pretty well considering what it is. For the first one, I feel like they really did put some kind of thought into it. There's like some psychology. It's a lot of brawling, but the camera work is good. And like the stories that they tell, like on commentary with what's happening in the match.
Of the camera work, I think they only missed like one one kind of key
Yeah, I mean, like
part.
they might miss like some stuff, but the thing is like it's so well mapped out that like the camera work is telling the same story that the commentary is, and they don't have as many cameras or the same equipment that they do now, and it's like legitimately good. And I'm not particularly a fan of these styles of matches. I think that they are probably fun live, but I think it was really good, but it wasn't the best match on the show. But
No.
I think it was the third best, which really this is gonna suck for me to say, but I think that the least good match is only because of Steamboat's like ill-timed or like bad choice of the way he moved his hand on the mat. Because I don't think it was a bad match, but I think that the Rumble match is good. Jumping Bomb Angels match, Gunman Girls match, fucking fantastic. The Islanders match and Stallions, fucking. I think it might be the best match on the show, but the commentary for the match is
Knocks it
fucking
down,
trash. So it's like what do you like? They're no selling probably the best performance of the evening. I don't know. How do you feel?
I thought it was a good show. Not a great show, but it's a good show. It definitely has its moments.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's bad shit. There's like the signing. There's the like weightlifting thing, which we'll get to. But those things suck.
And
but they're kind of,
and that's the reason why I can't say this is a great show.
No. I would say if you're gonna watch this, if you
just watch the matches,
you can skip that. Like, it's the thing is like the reason we do this is because, like, for context, to see where things come and go, and like to look at the missteps and like decide whether we like those missteps or not. Because there's plenty of bad things that happen that you enjoy or have a good time with. And even then, like, even if you don't like it, you kind of, like, love-hate it. It's kind of like, a bad movie that you had a good time watching. But I feel like as far as matches go, there's 4 matches, and I think that they're all pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the Royal Rumble itself isn't
better than I expected.
Isn't quite as royal as some of the other ones.
It's the first one.
But the idea is there, and it's great.
Yeah.
And as we've probably mentioned a few times, it becomes a favorite
for Matt. Yeah, like I don't have
It's my favorite pay-per-view.
Yeah.
On the schedule.
I thought I was really surprised with how like engaged I was with it. But that Islanders match was so fucking good.
Yeah.
It was so fucking good. And the fucking commentary team, they didn't bury it. They just talked about other stuff. They were arguing about the weightlifting thing that sucked.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
So I think it's time for us to smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show for you?
The Islanders and the Jumping Bomb Angel performance are my favorite things from the show. And like the like Glamour Girls also had a good performance, and the Stallions had a good performance, and those other guys would not have had great performances without people to have a good performance with. But, like, they really fucking shined so hard.
I mean, I'm going to say that Judy Martin hits an alley-oop powerbomb, which is basically...
It looks amazing.
Which was... It almost looks just like that gets her up on the powerbomb, but then just drops her.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
But that's what it's called, is an alley-oop powerbomb. And then also the what was it? The double underhook.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Face buster.
Yeah. There's some like
the reverse.
There's some like innovative stuff in that match, and the thing is like there's some innovative stuff in the women's tag match that like you still don't even see today, or you do and you're like, but it's not common. And then the Islanders Stallions match is like as good. I think it's about as good as a tag match gets, honestly.
I agree.
Like
it's definitely my favorite match on this show.
Yeah, it's the best match. It's the women's matches.
Yeah.
Okay, but then what about the Islanders matches? I feel like almost neck and neck. The women's match gets the edge. Matches don't really happen.
I don't love Roma and Powers. They did a good job.
They sold well. They told the story, but like they were very competent. But like the Islanders, like their like team mentality and just their fucking amazing drop kicks and physicality for being big guys, like they seriously were extremely fucking impressive.
Was there anything disappointing on this show?
The weightlifting thing was boring and dumb, and they talked about it way too much. And then like the other thing with them talking about like ATG, Andre the Giant, like being in the best shape he's ever been in, which is obviously not. And like, I get it, but like I said earlier, there's different ways to sell him being the big bad. But there's a weird, sad spot where they do the signing, and basically Andre puts his hands on Hulk's head, and Hulk like slams his own head into the table, and then like Andre puts his hands under the table, and Hulk grabs the table like overhand and like pulls it onto himself, and it's just kind of a bummer because that Andre is like in not great health. And like,
baby.
It's one of those things like at the time you probably wasn't very noticeable, but like I know that because I've watched an Andre doc, so it's like, oh, okay. So it's in a time period, it honestly does look really good, the selling of those things, but in hindsight,
I mean, yes, the weightlifting thing literally just went I said earlier, it literally went as long as the Steamboat Rude match.
Yeah.
And
well, I was watching it, and I was like, it could have been good if maybe like Dino was like selling it better, but at the same time, it's like, what is he gonna sell? Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cared. I don't know if it's a disappointment, but that the final 4 of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, like I didn't realize that I'm not a Dugan fan.
I was just
Dagon.
Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, disappointing that I can name at least 5 people that are not on this show at all.
Yeah, easily.
That they could have put in that Royal Rumble.
Easily.
That I would have liked better.
Easily. They were doing a house show.
Bam Bam, Macho Man, Honky Tonk. There's just 3 just right off the bat.
Yeah. And we'll talk about Honky Tonk shortly.
Yes, and we'll talk about him next week. Best performer of the night. It's the Jumping Bomb Angels.
I mean, it's the Jumping Bomb Angels. I would say Jumping Bomb Angels or the Islanders or Haku. But it's like those two. Like the Jumping Bomb Angels, though, it's like the Jumping Bomb Angels doing something. They were both doing something like the Islanders were doing the best version of like good tag, and the Jumping Bomb Angels did different shit, like the bridge out of
shit that we've never
bridge
seen
out of a
before.
pin, shit we haven't seen since then,
Yeah.
or if we have, it was obviously influenced by them.
How about most surprising?
It was surprising that they actually said their names halfway through the match, and then continued to attempt to do it.
Ultimate Warrior showing up.
That was surprising
for
for me as well. I was like, oh, okay. So when he showed up, I was like, does he win? I don't know.
Well, the funny thing is that literally he got no fanfare really at all. It was
he just kind of came in.
I
mean, he looked terrifying. He was probably beating the shit out of those guys. But could you imagine Prime Goldberg and Prime Ultimate Warrior in in any kind of match? And who would they just both die? Would they both just double pile drive each other into a 6-foot grave because they work so hard and are not wrestlers? And nobody really likes them. I mean, people
like them.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, personally.
The idea of them.
Yeah, the idea. But I'm saying,
in a personal,
neither of them are good wrestlers. But I'm just saying, people a lot of people are like, Warrior doesn't like wrestling. He's a douchebag and an asshole. Behind the scenes. And Goldberg, I think it's a little bit less. But if Warrior actually took wrestling seriously, he could have had a bigger career.
Lots of people could have had better careers if they
took it seriously. But he had, it's like you were so lucky that you had this. But
now for a look back even farther into the history of wrestling.
The Dusty Finish.
The Goldust Trio also brought about another massive change in professional wrestling. The introduction of time limits. Time limits would ramp up the pace, forcing the wrestlers to work faster, avoiding the drawn-out contests that had defined wrestling previously. It had also added another layer of drama, as wrestlers could no longer wait each other out indefinitely. Another innovation that the trio brought about was the count-out. Combined, these 2 new rules served another extremely important role: more ways for a match to end. A time-limit draw or a double count-out were sometimes used to make a young grappler look like a star or further a rivalry, while still being able to keep the title on Ed Lewis and increase the anticipation for a rematch. Next week, we're going to cover the main event, February 5th, 1988.
we're
going to watch the match that they were talking about in
Yeah.
contract signing.
It feels weird to skip it.
Yes. Originally we set out, we were just like, we'll just do pay-per-views. But we've, like, there's just some historical significance to some certain things.
Yeah.
And so we'll kind of sprinkle in some things that, like...
It's like, well, we can't miss that. They did that on... Like, they don't always do things on... Sometimes they do stuff on TV.
So every once in a while they do stuff on TV that
Like, that's...
is important. So
Yeah.
And this is one of those things. If you're watching along with us, you can find that show actually on the WWE Network. If you go to Saturday Night Main Event and you go to 1988, it's the show that's on February 5th. I don't think they have them numbered in like episode numbers.
They're not numbered, no. It's by date.
So I can't give you a number, but that's how you can find
February
it.
5th, 1988,
Yeah. So we're going to do that next week. It'll probably be a shorter show. Cause
we also might record that episode outside as well, so you might hear some more cicadas. I don't know if they're coming through or not, but we decided to get back to nature.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it's not windy.
Talk about
we're in Oklahoma. Normally it's really windy. It's not windy.
It's really windy and hot.
Typically, but right now it's like still and only like kind of a lot of mosquitoes. But
so the music from this week's show, we're gonna play that Royal Rumble theme song that Michael was talking about earlier. That
it's awful, and I'm sorry.
And then also, as Michael mentioned, right about now you're probably hearing the Islanders theme song.
And it's mean and it's good, and we probably won't ever play it again. But enjoy it. It's good.
We try and play different music whenever we get a chance.
Yeah,
we got a chance this time.
It can't all be Ricky D.
It can't all be Real American or Spotch Zarathustra.
Yeah. Ricky D, man.
So if you like us, you can rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Podcoin. Which if you haven't signed up on Podcoin, you get paid to listen to podcasts, and you can use the code HistoryX. You get an extra 200 coins.
Oh shit.
But yeah, if you like us, find us, rate us, review us, just all those places or wherever else you find your podcasts. You can always hit us up on our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter arguing with NXT refs.
Shout out Eddie.
Shout out to Eddie and D.A. Brewer. Both those guys, good dudes. I got D.A. Brewer to pop.
Oh yeah, that smile was adorable.
You can find us at Wrestling Histo X. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.